What was the real mystery behind Chevrolet's banned 396 Porcupine engine? This was an engine so powerful, NASCAR had to bury it. So radical, Chevy downplayed its true capabilities. And so secretive, even Ford couldn't put an end to it. This is the untold story of the 396 Porcupine, the banned engine that refused to fade into history. But what if I told you? The mystery motor never really disappeared. It was resurrected. Flashback to the mid-1960s. Chevrolet was in a heated war for horsepower dominance. The legendary 396 big block engine, particularly the high-performance L38 variant, became an icon of speed and power. It found its way into some of the most legendary muscle cars, including the Camaro, Chevelle, and El Camino. Even the Corvette had its own beast, the L88 427. But that's a story for another day. Beneath all the success, however, lurked a cloud of secrecy. Rumors of a banned version, known as the Porcupine engine, have sparked speculation for decades. Was it really outlawed by NASCAR? Did Chevrolet intentionally downplay its horsepower to keep it under wraps? And what was its connection to the elusive 427 mystery motor? This is a tale of innovation, secrecy, and the relentless quest for speed. Picture a dimly lit alleyway beside a Chevrolet factory. It's 1963, and GM's racing ban has forced engineers to destroy confidential documents. Among them, one technician rescues a blueprint, the key to the Porcupine's survival. While many believe the engine was extinct, deep in Detroit's underground, a hidden factory was already bringing it back to life. The birth of the big block. The Chevrolet 396 cubic inch V8 made its debut in January 1965, halfway through the model year. But to truly understand its origins, we have to go back to the nearly mythical 427 NASCAR mystery engine of 1963. While the 427 Mark II and the 396 Mark IV belong to different engine families, they were born from the same development process and shared key design elements. While the 427 mystery motor met its untimely demise in 1963, the 396 paved the way for a long and successful lineage of big block V8s. It marked the beginning of a new chapter in Chevrolet's performance legacy, one that continues to this day. One of the most distinctive features carried over from the mystery motor to the 396, and later to all big block Chevy V8s, was the innovative canted valve cylinder head. By angling the intake and exhaust valves, Chevrolet engineers were able to use larger valve diameters and optimize port angles, significantly improving airflow. With the valve covers removed, the unconventional arrangement of the valves and rocker arms looked chaotic, earning it the nickname Porcupine Head. At some point, this engine family earned the name Big Block due to its larger bore spacing and taller deck height compared to Chevrolet's original 1955 small block V8. In early 1965, Chevrolet introduced 3 versions of the 396 cubic inch V8, including the high-performance L78 for Corvettes and full-size cars, as well as the L37, which powered a special edition Chevelle SS known as the Z16. All 3 variants featured a 4.094-inch bore and a 3.760-inch stroke, and were marketed under the name Turbo Jet V8. The L78 was rated at 425 horsepower at 6,400 RPM and was built for serious performance, featuring 4-bolt main caps, a Holley 4-barrel carburetor, an 11-to-1 compression ratio, and a solid lifter camshaft. The L37 V8, designed for the Z16 Chevelle, shared the same robust foundation, but used a milder camshaft with hydraulic lifters, bringing its rating down to 375 horsepower. Chevrolet dressed the Z16's 396 with a chrome air cleaner lid and valve covers, making it as visually striking as it was powerful. However, only 201 units were ever produced, making it one of the rarest muscle cars of the era. Finally, there was the L35, a detuned version designed for full-size Chevrolets like the Biscayne, Bel Air, and Impala. It featured a 10.25-to-1 compression ratio and produced 325 horsepower, making it a more street-friendly option. Since the 396 was introduced mid-year in 1965, production numbers were relatively low. However, it paved the way for an extensive lineup of 396 and 427 cubic inch big block V8s in 1966 and beyond. By 1970, Chevrolet expanded the lineup further with the legendary 454 cubic inch Fi8, and in later decades, the big block concept evolved into the 8.1-liter 496 cubic inch Vortec, used in Chevy trucks. But this is where things take a mysterious turn. Though the 396 was designed for mass production, rumors suggest Chevrolet had an even more radical version in development, a high-performance variant that was supposedly too powerful for its time. Before it could reach its full potential, it was abruptly sidelined. Why Chevrolet's NASCAR dominance in the 1960s? During the 1960s, Chevrolet dominated NASCAR with its groundbreaking engines, including the 427 Mystery Motor and the 427 Mark IV Big Block L88. While the 396 Porcupine engine wasn't the star of the show, it played a crucial role in Chevy's racing legacy, proving to be a reliable, high-performance powerhouse. Drivers like Junior Johnson, David Pearson, Ned Jarrett, and Buck Baker pushed Chevrolet-powered cars to victory. Johnson claimed 13 wins in 1965. Pearson won 15 races and a championship in 1966. Jarrett secured 13 victories in 1965, cementing Chevrolet's dominance on the track. However, the 427 quickly overshadowed the 396, as it was better suited for NASCAR's high-speed demands. Chevrolet's focus on the 427 as its primary racing engine, combined with NASCAR's homologation rules and stiff competition from Ford's 427 FE and Chrysler's 426 Hemi, ultimately limited the 396's role in stock car racing. But was that the end of the Porcupine engine story? Was the 396 Porcupine engine banned? One of the biggest controversies surrounding the 396 Porcupine engine is whether it was officially banned from racing. Some sources claim NASCAR outlawed it outright, fearing it would give Chevrolet an unfair advantage, but is that the full story? In the early 1960s, NASCAR enforced strict homologation rules, requiring that any engine used in competition had to be available in a production car. Chevrolet had already faced scrutiny with its 1963 Mystery Motor, a prototype that was used in limited testing but never officially made it into showroom cars. NASCAR, wary of manufacturers pushing cutting-edge technology that wasn't accessible to the average buyer, began cracking down on experimental engines. However, there's no solid evidence that NASCAR specifically banned the 396. More likely, a combination of corporate strategy, rule changes, and Chevrolet's decision to focus on the 427 prevented the 396 from becoming a dominant force in stock car racing. Unlike the 427 Mystery Motor, the 396 was primarily developed as a street performance engine rather than an all-out racing powerhouse. But that doesn't mean its legacy ended there. Did Chevrolet lie about the horsepower? One of the most persistent myths surrounding the 396 Porcupine engine is that Chevrolet intentionally underrated its horsepower figures. The L78 version was officially rated at 375 horsepower at 5,600 RPM and 415 lb-ft of torque at 3,600 RPM. But insider reports and dyno tests suggest it may have actually produced closer to 425 horsepower, or even more. This wouldn't be the first time an automaker played with horsepower ratings. Manufacturers often underrated performance figures to stay within insurance regulations, avoid catching attention from governing bodies like NASCAR or the NHRA and Chevrolet. They had a track record of downplaying horsepower ratings. Just look at the L88 42.7 or the LS 645.4. The end of the mystery? The 396 Porcupine engine remains a fascinating chapter in Chevrolet's history. While it never took center stage in NASCAR, it laid the foundation for one of the most successful big block engine families of all time. Even though Chevrolet shifted its focus to the 427 and later the 454, the 396 left an undeniable impact on the muscle car era. So, Was the 396 Porcupine engine truly banned, or did it simply fall victim to corporate strategy and shifting racing priorities? One thing is certain, it was a powerhouse that refused to be forgotten. During the golden age of muscle cars, manufacturers often understated their engine's true power due to insurance costs, regulatory concerns. A higher advertised horsepower meant steeper insurance premiums, so companies like Chevrolet strategically reported lower figures. And let's not forget, General Motors had an internal restriction limiting mid-sized cars to a maximum of 400 cubic inches. So, a high-output 396? That could have been intentionally downplayed to comply with corporate policies while still delivering unmatched performance. On the drag strip, the L78 396 proved itself to be a beast, frequently outperforming its official specifications, raising questions about whether Chevrolet was hiding its true potential. The L78 was built for pure performance, featuring a high-performance solid lifter, camshaft, 11.0 to 1 compression ratio, rectangular port cylinder heads, a Holley 4-barrel carburetor, branded as the Turbojet. It made its debut in mid-1965 under the hoods of Corvettes full-size, Chevrolets like the Impala Select Chevelle SS models in the Corvette. Only 2,157 units were equipped with the L78, making it a rare and sought-after option. And in the Chevelle SS 396Z16, only 201 units were ever built. That exclusivity cemented its place as one of the most formidable and collectible engines in Chevrolet history. The L78 396 remained in production until 1970, evolving over time, but never losing its legendary status. And to this day, mysteries still surround it. Why didn't the 396 reach its full potential? Despite its cutting-edge technology and raw performance, the Chevrolet 396 never quite achieved the legendary status of its bigger brothers, the 427 and 454. Why? Several key factors held it back. Corporate restrictions. In 1963, General Motors banned factory-backed racing, shifting Chevrolet's focus from high-performance racing engines to mass-production-friendly versions of the 396. NASCAR regulations. NASCAR's homologation rules favored engines already in large-scale production, limiting the competition use of experimental motors, like the mysterious Porcupine 396. The rise of the 427 and 454. As Chevrolet continued refining its big block lineup, the 396 slowly faded into the shadows, outshined by its larger and more powerful successors. But was the 396 forgotten? Not a chance. Its legacy as one of the most iconic engines of the muscle car era still lives on. While the mystery surrounding the banned Porcupine variant continues to spark curiosity, the real impact of the 396 is undeniable. It paved the way for the legendary big blocks that followed, shaping Chevrolet's high-performance future. So why does the 396 still matter today? Because somewhere, tucked away in a forgotten garage, resting under the hood of a Chevelle, or hidden deep within GM's vaults, the Porcupine engine still exists, and it's just waiting to roar again.